Hi everyone, SpiderMan 1991 here with my weekly comic book review for comics that came out August 14th, 2013. Okay, starting off, we've got Marvel with Thor, God of Thunder number 11, the conclusion to God Bomb, and also it's the conclusion to the whole story arc to the last few story arcs involving Gore, the God Butcher. Pretty much Thor, the present-day Thor, with the power of both hammers from his present and future self, is able to stop the God Bomb from going off. Also, it allows him to steal like the shadow, that whole shadow thing that Gore was cloaked in. It's apparently revealed to be a weapon that's only to be meant to be wielded by a god, and Thor's able to steal that away from Gore and then kill him. And so, after Thor gets the weapon removed from him, he dies, but he's a god. He comes back in like 3 days. And after that, the three Thors, they say goodbye to one another, and also future Thor reveals that because of some of the god slaves that Gore used couldn't remember where they're from, they decided to stay in future Asgard. So in a way, the city's now repopulated again. And pretty much that's everything that happens in this issue. Okay, well, I'm glad this story arc is concluded because 11 issues, we just pretty much have been fighting the same villain, so it's good to see the series go some new stuff pretty soon. Did I like this story arc? Yes, yes, I think I enjoyed it. The only thing I regret about it is that it was too long. All right, it felt like it was dragging on. It felt like it was just dragging out Gore as a threat for a while now, and it just got really. It got to the point where I was just like, okay, is this going to end soon or something? But yeah, but I'm not really a big Thor fan. I mean, don't get me wrong, I did love this. I think Thor's a great character. He's just not one of my favorites. If you are a Thor fan, I do recommend picking this series up, but do it next issue, which will be issue 12. Apparently Thor is going to return to Midgard, Earth. And also I recommend getting the God Bomb and the God Butcher story arcs if they're collecting trades already. Pretty much some of the story arcs I think that are coming out of Marvel now, like with Thor God of Thunder, I'm kind of having the same issue I had with Captain America. The same thing with Dimension Z, is that it's taking a long time for the story to be told. How long is it going to be after this? So I think, but since I'm not really a big Thor fan, I think I'm going to stop getting this monthly and maybe wait for the next few story arcs to get collected in trade form. So yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Thor God of Thunder number 11 right now. It's pretty good, but it's very long. Okay, next up, my last two Marvel comics I'm actually going to review together because they're actually two parts of the same story arc. Superior Spider-Man Team Up number 2 and Scarlet Spider number 20, both parts of the sibling rivalry story arc. I have to admit, it's good that we finally get a crossover between Scarlet Spider and the Superior Spider-Man. Also, it's really great that both parts came out in the same week. That's something I'm really happy about. Okay, so what happens is the story arc pretty much opens up with Peter Parker, who's really Otto Octavius, coming back to his apartment, and he finds the Scarlet Spider there. And he realizes that the Scarlet Spider is Kane, and of course, Otto fights. First instinct is to attack him, and pretty much then we have the Superior Spider-Man fighting the Scarlet Spider in the middle of New York. Mainly because and Kane finds it odd because he does hear that Spider-Man's been acting a little strange lately, and that now this reaction that now it feels like Spider-Man wants to kill him. And yeah, Otto does, because back when Kane was a supervillain, he killed Dr. Octopus during the Clone Saga days. And so they start fighting each other, but then their fight's interrupted when they get attacked by these Spider X-Men clones. Like, they're part Spider-Man, part X-Men, if I'm being clear about that. And these mutated clones were also created by the Jackal, and then they get attacked by Clarion and a Gwen Stacy clone, and then that leads them to getting knocked out. And that's pretty much what happens in Superior Spider-Man Team number 2. In Scarlet Spider number 20, we get a little more dialogue in a way. pretty much when they both wake up, they find they're in chains. Jackal is able to determine how to keep them both restrained, mainly because of all the years he studied Peter Parker's DNA. And of course, Jackal says that the real reason he did this is because he wants to collect enough Peter Parker DNA as he can to study it and continue his cloning experiments. And of course, though, Kane, who is actually much stronger than Spider-Man. Well, I wouldn't say much, but he's able to break out on his own, and he does have all the enhanced abilities from the other, that Peter would have gotten from the other, and pretty much he breaks out, and he's able to take care of, and he deals with he deals with Carrion, the Spider mutates, as well as the Jackal himself, while in the meantime, Superior Spider-Man, after he gets out, he just goes to the lab and destroys all the DNA samples that Jackal collected from them. And then he activates the self-destruct button to make the base collapse on itself. And of course, Spider-Man just heads out there, doesn't care about Kane. Kane, however, he stops for a moment when he sees the Gwen Stacy clone almost getting trapped in. He tries to save her, but she refuses to leave. And so Kane then gets out of there. And afterwards, when the base is fully destroyed and there's fire and everything, Kane pretty much just punches Spider-Man right in the face and tells him, like, you could have killed me right there, dude. And of course, Superior Spider-Man, he's being an arrogant dick about him. And then Kane reminds him that, you know what, I'm not a hero. And I love Kane's quote at the end, what he says to him. He says, you know what, I know I'm not a hero, I'm trying to do good, but you are a hero, so start acting like one. And that's when he leaves. And in the Scarlet Spider issue, we do get two epilogues. One epilogue for Kane is he and Arclay return to Houston, and he's thinking to himself about how different Peter is, about how when he originally left Peter, they were on good terms. Peter kind of treated him, saw the hero in him, and now he's just being this arrogant douchebag. And when Kane goes into the bathroom, check on himself, he notices that his facial scars are back. Like, from his first appearance back in the Clone Saga, Kane's scars and the cellular degeneration process has returned again. And also, we get, in the second epilogue, we see the Jackal searching through the wreckage, where he discovers a sample of Kane's DNA still intact. And obviously the second epilogue will probably lead into the whole teaser we got saying that soon in Scarlet Spider we're going to see Ben Reilly again. So that might be that. This story arc might lead into that. Obviously, again, because of the Jackal and his obsession with cloning Peter Parker. And even in Scarlet Spider number 20, when they're tied up, when the heroes are tied up, Jackal even taunts Kane by saying, like, we can't all be like Ben Reilly, and that was some good stuff. Sibling rivalry, yeah, I would highly recommend this. I think right now it really renewed my interest in Scarlet Spider, because to be honest, a lot of the recent stuff has been kind of hit or miss with me, but now I feel like with the Jackal involved, and then we're getting to and then with the return of Ben Reilly, I feel like this is something a book you need to keep your eye on. Also, though, this story arc is written by Chris Yost, who's currently writing Scarlet Spider, and also Superior Spider-Man Team Up. I gotta say that he does really capture the arrogance of Dr. Octopus, and that was kind of upsetting to me throughout this book. I mean, to be honest, I felt like this story was more of Kane's rather than the Superior Spider-Man's, mainly because it felt like, throughout the story arc, and I've said this, and I know I've just said this, but Otto really does act like a douchebag in this. Okay, he's saying that, he hates Kane because he's a clone. He pretty much goes on this whole, most of the time he's ranting about how clones need to die, he's useless and stuff, and also how he wants to make Kane pay for what he did to him. Yeah, you know what, Otto? Kane's trying to be a hero. He's doing it on his own. He didn't have to kill someone and take over their body to do it. All right? My God, I think that's the flaw. Again, that's the flaw that the writers are trying to address with Dr. Octopus and Spider-Man's body. It's his arrogance. It blinds him from his own mistakes. In this case, judging Kane, because Kane right now he's doing the right thing. He's he became a good guy sort of on his own. In this case, Otto didn't. I mean, he just used the wrong methods to do it, and I think again, eventually though, that is gonna come back like a boomerang and really screw up Otto's life. But for now though, back to the story arc. Sibling rivalry, is a great story arc. I highly recommend it. I really think that you should get both issues. All right, if you are gonna get just one of these books, get both. Seriously, you need to get both parts because they are amazing. Alright, now it's time for DC with Smallville Season 11, number 16. We are now finally introduced to Wonder Woman. Not just Wonder Woman in this issue, but also Steve Trevor, the government organization known as DEO, which I believe is the Department of... I forgot what it stood for. Also, Lois and Clark visit Washington. Pretty much what leads into this is Martha Kent is meeting with the director of DEO one night, and suddenly they're both attacked by terrorists, and they're saved by this vigilante who is Diana of Themyscira, and she doesn't say she's Diana, but she saves them. And then Martha calls Clark to tell him what happened, and he and Lois go to DC the next day. Soon, Clark investigates DEO, while Lois goes and tracks down the vigilante herself. And Lois does meet Wonder Woman, and Clark does meet Steve Trevor when he's visiting the DEO headquarters. But then apparently Lois and Diana get attacked. That pretty much calls Clark into action as Superman. He saves them both from these shadowy demons that were attacking them, and also, it does also after Superman takes care of them, Steve Trevor's team from DEO shows up, but Diana leaves because she recognizes Steve Trevor, because apparently in the past, Steve Trevor crash landed as a 10-year-old boy. He survived a plane crash and wound up on Themyscira, and of course for 5 years he's been living in secrecy, and Diana's kind of been helping him survive. But then one day they discovered Diana's secret by the Queen. Well, Queen Heptalia discovered it, and so did a couple other Amazons. But apparently somehow they didn't kill Steve because he's alive in the present. And the last page of this issue reveals that Felix Faust is behind the attacks. Okay, Smallville Season 11, number 16. Now I gotta admit, it is interesting that now we're getting... Okay, first of all, we're getting into Wonder Woman, although technically she's not Wonder Woman right now, she's just Diana. I do like the way she looks in this. It is kind of the white suit and jacket. It is kind of... I think it's reminiscent of, what Wonder Woman wore in the late 70s, and kind of as a government agent or something. But also... what else? She's not using the Wonder Woman alias yet. She does have the bracelets. And I don't think she can fly yet. I think she just super leaps, but I didn't think we actually got a clear shot of her flying. So in a way, she's kind of like in the same place Clark was before this series began, which is not exactly being a hero out there, but just being more like a silent guardian type. And I think I know that when they announced the series, they said there was going to be Batman and also Wonder Woman. So it is interesting to kind of see those two be in opposite ends, because Batman, he was already in the costume, he has identity established in Gotham. Diana, on the other hand, doesn't have a heroic identity. She's just pretty much sticking to the shadows. So in a way, it's kind of interesting to see Clark meet another hero who's at that same point in their career as he was. But I recommend this issue if you're a Smallville fan and you like Wonder Woman, you want to see her interact with the Smallville universe. This is a good issue to start. Other than that, you can skip this. Okay, moving along. Justice League of America number 7, part 4 of Trinity War. Superman's team does find Dr. Psycho, but and Martian Manhunter does scan his mind, but they find out that he was sent to contact by the Secret Society, but he didn't do jack to Superman. And so at that point the team's kind of at a loss. And then Adam reveals to Cyborg and Superman and Element Woman that she's actually working with the JLA, and the real reason Waller formed the JLA was so that they could, in a way, replace the Justice League. And of course, this changes the Superman's team's suspicion from target from Dr. Psycho to Waller, because they believe now Waller was behind what happened to Superman. So they head back to Argus, and when they get there, though, but a few minutes before they get there, though, Plastique, who's also working with the Secret Society, somehow turned Dr. Light's body into a bomb, and right when Superman's team shows up and meets with Waller, it detonates. And meanwhile, back at the House of Mystery, Batman's team apparently comes back from their meeting with the Phantom Stranger, which in order to understand what really happened with them, you have to read the last issue of Phantom Stranger, which is number 11, I believe. That's what's said in the issue. And Wonder Woman's team does manage to track down Pandora, who's meeting with Lex Luthor. Yeah, apparently Pandora thought Lex Luthor could open the box. What the... Weird, right? And so Wonder Woman's team finds Pandora. Wonder Woman grabs the box, but she gets possessed, just like Superman, and that's where the issue ends. Okay, right now, Justice League number 7, JLA number 7, I gotta say, this is kind of like the slowdown. This felt like the slowdown point of Trinity War, okay? I mean, yeah, Adam finally revealed to the main Justice League that she's actually working with the JLA and stuff. Also, there's the thing, and also apparently, if you want to know what happened to Batman's team, you have to go read Phantom Stranger, which I don't think I want to do. So, and again, the thing with and pretty much the only thing that I think happened in here that's a highlight, or just that Wonder Woman got possessed, and apparently the Secret Society is still continuing to be behind the scenes, but with Dr. Psycho and also Plastique, though. So yeah, not really a lot revealed here in a way, but so I guess if you're still reading Trinity War, I would say just get this so you don't have a hole in the story arc, although really this does kind of present a plot hole if you're not getting any of the tie-ins like Phantom Stranger. I mean, if you're curious about what Batman's team did, I guess you have to go read Phantom Stranger if you want to pay for that, but I don't, so really, it's just kind of, I feel like in order to get the full story about this issue, you have to get the last issue of Phantom Stranger, but so I'd say if you're reading Trinity, just get this if you're reading Trinity War. That's it, and you don't want a hole in your collection or story arc. That's the only reason to get this. Alright, next up, Nightwing number 23. Nightwing's continuing is continuing to stop all of the Trickster's bombs. Wait, did I say Trickster? I meant Prankster. Sorry, Prankster. It's right on the cover. How could I have missed that? There. Okay, there, we're done. Alright, so anyways, Nightwing pretty much continues to stop the Prankster from destroying the city. He's disarming their bombs, stopping all the henchmen. And eventually, though, his campaign does lead him to a boat where Prankster has taken hostages, and one of the hostages is actually Dick Grayson's roommate in Chicago, Michael. So, but while Nightwing's continuing his campaign to stop the Prankster, citizens of Chicago and several politicians are pretty much pounding Mayor Cole, who is being accused of the Prankster of stealing millions of dollars from the city, and also Prankster revealed that he's also harboring Tony Zuko as his aide, known as Billy Lester. I mean, I don't know about the first thing with the millions of dollars, but the second one, readers, we know it's true, right? And so anyways, Cole's just pretty much taking a hounding from citizens who want to return the money. Also, politicians, also some of the state council workers are asking him, like, about Zuko and stuff. And meanwhile, after Nightwing is able to save the boatload of hostages, the prankster is able to get into the mayor's office after killing several of the council workers, and that's when the prankster gets in the mayor's office. And while that happens, Tony Zuko arrives to where Nightwing is and tells him that in order to save the city, we have to work together, because apparently Zuko now has a change of heart, because earlier when Zuko's like with his family and stuff, his wife talks to him, is able to somehow talk him into being the better person here and not hiding and doing the right thing, even despite the fact that he did kill Dick Grayson's parents. And now, at the end of the issue, Zuko appears to Nightwing, who he doesn't know is Dick Grayson, asking to work together to save the city. I think that will be very interesting. Again, Nightwing, this was another good issue. I do like the ending, though, about how Zuko offers to work with Nightwing. That's interesting, because essentially, in order to stop a supervillain, Dick Grayson has to team up with the guy who murdered his parents. As far as whether or not Zuko would discover Dick's identity, who knows, but I think it would be very interesting to see what will happen when they actually team up. I mean, it does sound a little far-fetched, but I'm willing to see what happens. Yeah, and as far as what could happen to Zuko, I don't know. I think this would end with the way this could end with Zuko is, I think either he's gonna go back to jail, or Nightwing's kind of gonna reveal his identity, say like, you're the guy, because Zuko even mentions that Nightwing's been after him for years. So obviously, maybe Dick's gonna explain to him like, I'm the guy whose parents you killed, and that might really set Zuko off. I mean, I'm getting the same vibe I would if we had another Batman story that dealt with Joe Chill. I feel like that's kind of the same direction we're going here, and like something like in that Batman Brave and the Bold episode, Chill of the Night. Something like that, which I think is going to happen with Zuko. And I really can't wait to read the next issue, which I think is a really great. That's pretty much a sign of every issue I enjoy. If it leaves me wanting more, I know this is a great comic, and that's what I always get from Nightwing. So yeah, I would say if you want a good Bat title that doesn't star Batman, get Nightwing. It's awesome. Okay, next up, last comic, Batman number 23, continuing 0 Year. Pretty much the way last issue ended, the Red Hood gang set a bomb in Bruce Wayne's townhouse on Crime Alley. Right now, the townhouse is collapsing. It's on fire. The gang does kind of go in and they beat Bruce up, and their leader sort of recounts. Well, he vaguely recounts his origin about how when he heard about the Wayne's murder, he decided to get the idea of this gang to kind of when he heard that the Waynes were murdered by a nobody, he kind of got the idea to found a gang to sort of control the chaos in a way. Obviously, this is kind of implying that the dialogue here kind of implies that this guy is definitely going to turn to the Joker, but I digress. So pretty much anyways, the gang leader kind of like mocks Bruce, then they leave. After that, Bruce is able to get enough strength to get to the secret passageway behind the bookcase and make it down into the hidden tunnel into the sewers before the townhouse completely collapses on him. Meanwhile, back at Wayne Industries, Philip Kane confronts Edward Nygma about how Nygma apparently sent the Red Hood gang to kill Bruce, and Kane's about to shoot Nygma, but then Nygma activates a magnet in the floor, which apparently reacts to the metal plate Philip Kane had installed in his head, which they did make a reference to last issue. So Kane's pretty much stuck lying on the floor while Nygma makes a clean getaway. Although once Bruce is able to get into the sewer tunnels, he's able to show that he's able to make it to Wayne Manor, which he knows is where Alfred lives. it's kind of weird that with all those serious injuries, he was able to make it all the way to a mansion all the way across town. Just saying that's something someone's going to point out at some point. Anyways, Bruce gets his wounds all patched up from Alfred, and after Bruce sort of recovers, Alfred does kind of talk to him, saying like, I know we're going to disagree, but rest assured, Bruce, I'm always going to patch you up, and that's kind of a sweet moment between them. Later that night, Bruce is wandering the manor. He finds a box of old mementos. He finds again, another reference to a couple of issues ago, the 3D recording camera that Thomas showed him when he was a boy. Bruce then takes the camera with him to his father's study, where he kind of like says that he's losing his boar, and he needs a sign from his father about what he needs to do to help him get the advantage back, to help get the upper hand. And then suddenly the camera activates, and it displays around him like a 3D model of what the cave underneath Wayne Manor looks like. And then Bruce notices an open window, and suddenly bats come flying through, and one bat lands on the bust of Thomas Wayne. Then the camera kind of falls, and it breaks, and the whole cave surrounding collapses, and then Bruce just kind of like stares back at the bat on the bust of Thomas Wayne, and that's when Bruce gets the idea to become the Bat. And that's pretty much where the issue ends. Well, the main story. We also get a co-feature about where Bruce learned to fight. Well, not really learned to fight, but learned how to take dozens of opponents and keep fighting back. So that was an interesting co-feature. But the way it ended, that scene in the study with the bust and the bats, that was so good. That was my favorite point of this issue. I was reading it. Oh, by the way, this is the cover for the combo pack. That's why it's different than the regular issue cover. Anyways, the way it ended with that scene in the study. I loved it. It was that was one of the most memorable scenes from Frank Miller's Year One, was when Bruce was sitting in his father's study and suddenly the bat comes crashing through the window and lands on the bust. That scene definitely pays an homage to it. It's definitely I think it's more of redone just for the sake of the New 52, but I'm glad they kept something like that in here. It was amazing. Oh man, it was just one of the most memorable scenes of this issue, which just proves to me why I look forward to Batman every week. Every week I know it's coming out. Definitely my pick of the week is Batman number 23. Zero Year is continuing to be an awesome story arc. Highly recommend it. If you only get one comic this week, I would say get Batman number 23. It's really the best, one of the best DC comics out there. Okay, and also again, the beginning of this, it is also the beginning where Bruce is in the burning house and he's getting his way out. That also reminded me of the scene. That also reminded me of Batman Begins. So again, that was another thing they did an homage to, which is nice. I think, very great how they kind of used that element from Batman Begins, and the other element from Year One was just brilliant. Really, this was definitely a great issue. Cannot wait to see what happens next in Zero Year. Okay, that's it for my comic review. Quick little recap right now. Batman number 23, very awesome. Really love the end scene with the bat. Cannot wait to see what comes next in Zero Year. Highly recommend this. This is definitely my pick of the week. Nightwing number 23. In the end, Nightwing continues to stop the prankster's plans, but in the end, it looks like he has to team up with Tony Zuko if he wants to win the fight. Really looking forward to that. Justice League of America number 7. Definitely a slow point for Trinity War. This is probably the only part of it that I really am not positive about. Pretty much get it only for the sake of completing the story arc. That's it. Smallville season 11 number 16. Cannot get this if you like Smallville and you're a fan of Wonder Woman. Superior Spider-Man Team Up number 2 and Scarlet Spider number 20. Get them both if you can. If you can, get them both. Don't just get none or both. That's it. this definitely felt more like a Scarlet Spider story arc more than a superior Scarlet Spider-Man team up, Scarlet Spider team up. But still, nevertheless, if you love Scarlet Spider, I would definitely recommend getting them both. Very nice. Thor: God of Thunder number 11. Pretty much get this if you've been reading Thor: God of Thunder since the beginning. Other than that, you can just wait for the trade. Okay, that's it for my comic review this week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to my channel, SpiderMan 1991, saying see you later.